first with the NSA.
There is something real here.
Did you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General and some of which to the intelligence committees. I actually had the people with the first-hand knowledge provide a protected disclosure to the Inspector General. Biologics came to some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Those could represent exquisite new adversary technology.
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still in the program.
The government is covering up some level of its knowledge and understanding about what some of those things are.
The Soul Foundation, which just announced a new initiative for UFO research and policy.
It's nuts, man. I mean, we're just small-town buds who saw a UFO in the woods. I mean, now we're hanging out with the government.
Wow. What floor were you guys on?
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another live edition of Anomaly-NOW. This is being transmitted to you via... I'm getting the rays. They're affecting my mental processes. Straight out of Austin, Texas. This is the weekly live news media roundup for the 501c3 nonprofit Anomaly Archives, aka the Scientific Anomaly Institute. It is another Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is March 5th, 2025, and I am your host. Thank you for joining us. You can find out more about us at our website, anomalyarchives.org, or you can go to, the old Flipboard. That would be over at flipboard.com/Anomaly Archives. And there's a link there, yada, yada, yada. We'll be touching on some of those links tonight. There's just a ton of stuff, of course. And a lot of it we won't get the chance to go to, or go through or touch on, but we're going to do our best. So let's just dive right in. Of course, if you want to support the Anomaly Archives, you can consider donating in a variety of ways. Of course, the main one being through our patreon.com/Anomaly Archives page. There you can also sign up for free to get updates about this organization and our events and outreach. In fact, we do have some upcoming outreach happening tomorrow evening, March 6th, Thursday at The Holdout. That's downtown on 4th Street here in Austin, Texas. The Austin Disclosure Meetup group is holding their second event, Beers and Alien Cheers to Electric Boogaloo, and very interested in schmoozing with anybody who wants to come and talk weird stuff, especially UFOs. And the leader of that group, David S., I've recently met, and we had a great conversation. So I'm looking forward to more great conversations. You might consider checking us out over there. There's also some other great stuff that you might want to look into. There's a bunch of great events that have either happened or are about to happen besides that one over at paricenter.com. That's PARICENTER.com. They've posted information about a recently passed February 9th event, PSI Psi Back to the Future, curated and chaired by Alex Gomez-Marin. There's got to be a link on here. Maybe it's not on this page, but I'm going to post the linked to the multi-hour YouTube recording that is on their YouTube channel. And it has all the presentations from this recent online streaming event that is worth looking into. Of course, we are always interested in hearing about new parapsychological research. Some of the people that were presenting were Damon Abraham, David Acunzo, a bunch of folks. Most of these folks I don't actually recognize, but yes, Jeffrey Mishlove, Julia Mossbridge, wonderful, Roger Nelson, wonderful, Dean Radin, Stephen Schwartz, all these other folks. Great stuff, I'm sure. Haven't had the chance to dive into that. Man, I've just been consuming so much media. There's so much information out there, so many podcasts, audio only, video, audio, all the different streams. It's really hard to keep up, but we try to help you keep up with that and distill down at least things that have caught our attention that we think are the most interesting. So you'll want to check out PSI Sci Back to the Future presentation on their YouTube channel. Coming up this weekend, Friday, March 7th, Insights from the Telepathy Tapes featuring Dr. Diane Hennacy Powell. This is a free event put on by IONS. That would be the Institute of Noetic Science. You can find out more over at noetic.org, where this event listing is there, and you can register for free. We, of course, have been reporting for the last several months, half a year or so, on the telepathy tapes. And yes, I still think people should check it out. I think it's a fascinating story. And there could be, hopefully, at the core, some actual psychic phenomena happening with these nonverbal children. We hope you'll check that out. I've registered. I hope to be there if I can. That's March 7th, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, free events. Well, you love the price, don't you? Over at communication-arts.uq.edu.au. That's the University of Queensland, Australia. They have an upcoming event, March 21st, research seminar, Close Encounters of the Hermeneutic Kind, UFOs as More Than Human Media. And this is another online free event. There's the Zoom link. Really looking forward to this. Hermeneutics is an area I've been fascinated with for a long time. The abstract here opens with a quote from Jeff Kripal, but the description says, "This seminar presentation summarizes my forthcoming essay of the same title to be published in UFOs Here and Now, 21st Century Perspectives." Editors William Dewan and a bunch of other people. Coming out from Syracuse University Press next year, 2026. It charts my ongoing attempt to simultaneously rethink media and the UFO in ways oriented by the pursuit of meaning and process rather than data and definitions. And this is who is the I in this. That is the presenter, Dr. Adam Dodd, who is a teaching associate in communication and media studies at the School of Communication and Arts, UQ. And you can find out more about this at the link. Very interesting. Just this scene of UFO, UAP studies continues to explode in new ways. Of course, we've already mentioned previously the upcoming latest edition of the Archives of the Impossible. They are having a big event coming up in Houston, Texas at the Rice University. That's going to be April 3rd and 5th. And I think you can probably still get online tickets. This year's title is The UFO and the Impossible. Not the most creative, but you get the point. And you can find out all about the different online presentations. They may still have, I doubt it, but they sold out very quickly for the in-person and the virtual, but they somehow added space now, if I remember, from the original event in 2022 that was originally supposed to be in 2020. The 2022 event that I was honored to speak at on a panel about various other archives of the impossible, the Anomaly Archives. The space next door where they had the between session gatherings, clearly they had multiple auditoriums there where they could pipe in the video of the presentation. So it seems like there may be the opportunity to be there and schmooze, even if you didn't get those original tickets that would get you in the main event space. But looking forward to that coming up April 3rd through 5th. And let's see. This other event coming up. This one at Durham University, Grounding the SETI and UAP Debate, Law, Evidence, and Anticipated Futures. In recent years, the debate about sightings or even contact with UAP, previously called UFOs, has reignited in an unexpected and drastic manner. This one's coming up April 24th, and again, is free, and then not Zoom, but Teams. Microsoft Teams is their method of streaming for this event, and you can find out more at the URL. That's durham.ac.uk. Grounding the SETI and UAP Debate, Law, Evidence, and Anticipated Futures. And in fact, they also have this, I don't know if this is the program, it's a 12-page PDF that has more information on, I think, this symposium. and some of the presentations. Yes, it's their program with the schedule there. All right, we'll post a link to that PDF in the show notes, which will be live probably tomorrow. So sorry, there's always a delay. Moving right along. Oh, so other events coming up. I mentioned the Patreon. We, of course, have monthly online lectures that if you're of a certain level or higher at our patreon.com account, you get access to participate in the monthly live online events and also gain access to the back catalog of other events. And we have coming up and this month on what date is it going to be? Wednesday, March 26th. Micah Hanks is going to be presenting Sasquatch, Relict, Hominoids in History and Official Files. That's going to be a very interesting lecture by Mr. Hanks. Of course, Micah Hanks is one of the co-founders and editors over at thedebrief.org, a fantastic technology news site that covers a lot of UAP and other advanced technology news, but they cover other topics as well. But of course, he is a writer, podcaster, history fanatic, self-professed science enthusiast, and philosophy junkie. You can find out more about him over at his website, micahhanks.com. That's MICHHANKS.com. Micah is fantastic. I cannot recommend his material enough. He is a great journalist. I always am excited to listen to what he's going to report on each week, as well as I am an ex-subscriber to his extra podcast each week. And it's always goes even further into depth than what he's already reported on, extra material. And he does a number of other podcasts, including Sasquatch Tracks. Yes, you can find out some great information about the realm of cryptozoology and Bigfoot Sasquatch sightings over at his sasquatchtracks.com website, where they house all the podcasts on that subject. And there we go, is back to what he's going to be presenting for us coming up in just a few weeks. That's going to be Wednesday, March 26th. More details to follow. All right. So diving into the news out of the realm of such upcoming events is this headline from the San Francisco Gate, sfgate.com. California takes steps toward officially recognizing Bigfoot. Quote, a lot of people believe it exists. Yes. So are they going to recognize it as a real thing? Well, not exactly. Just like every state has a state flag, a state flower, a state mineral. Do they do that? I'm not sure. But this is going to be California's state cryptid. Quote, California may soon have an official mythical creature, and naturally it's Bigfoot. Assembly member Chris Rogers, who represents a stretch of the North Coast that has long been considered Sasquatch territory, introduced Assembly Bill, oh no, that's terribly numbered, 666 on February 14th. Wait, on Valentine's Day? Wait, is that Valentine's Day? I don't know. The bill aims to designate Bigfoot as the state's official cryptid, a term for creatures that some people believe exist despite a lack of proof. Well, that's a matter of opinion. Quote, Rogers District spans Del Norte, Humboldt, Mendocino, Sonoma, and Trinity counties, a region known as the epicenter of Bigfoot lore. They start quoting Texas's own Matt Moneymaker. I think he's from Texas. Maybe he's from Louisiana, but Matt Moneymaker is somebody I know from years ago in the Texas Bigfoot scene. What a name. Matt Moneymaker. Yes, you've seen him on shows like Finding Bigfoot, and he is the president of Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. And Moneymaker first heard about Assembly Bill. He told SF Gate he was skeptical. Quote, I first thought it was a joke. It sounded like it was a parody of states having official all sorts of things, so I thought it was supposed to be a spoof on that. But once he realized the bill was serious, his perspective shifted. Quote, apparently a state can have an official cryptid, so why not? Yes, indeed. Why not? I guess Texas's, if Bigfoot's taken, could be the ivory-billed woodpecker, except they're not technically cryptids, but they are subject of cryptozoology as a hard-to-find species. Yeah, what would be a one for Texas? Oh, wait, I should just consult that map behind me. Oh, what do they have for Texas? I'd have to move my head out of the way. I can't remember. What's number 14 on the map? Somebody find the key. Okay, moving right along. If you want some more to feed your Bigfoot hunger, was Bigfoot real? Season 43, episode 9 of the David Attenborough show, I guess. This is over at pbs.org. Was Bigfoot real? They have a clip. It's just about 3 minutes long. And they include the transcript, I guess, just so that all folks can participate. If they can't hear, that's good. But yeah, there's a little clip there at the pbs.org website. And there's some other clips too that might interest anybody interested in cryptozoology. So moving right along at a fast pace, another article from thedebrief.org, previously mentioned, 22,000-year-old evidence of transport technology reshapes our understanding of the ancient Americas. This by Ryan Whalen, again at thedebrief.org. Archaeologists have discovered evidence of ancient transport technology in the Americas, suggesting that early North Americans used travois-like sleds for transport nearly 22,000 years ago. Holy moly. Travois, that's Travois. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. New findings by Bournemouth University researchers Matthew Robert Bennett, a professor of environmental and geographical sciences, and Sally Christine Reynolds, an associate professor in hominin paleoecology, identifies the use of simple handcarts possessing no wheels that were employed during the late Ice Age near modern-day White Sands, New Mexico. The adoption of such a device significantly predates the first known use of the wheel, which is believed to have occurred in Mesopotamia 5,000 years ago. This is fascinating, and I've been saying for years that every year there is some new evidence that pushes further and further back our knowledge of human history. And usually I say that in the context of human civilization. And while this is, of course, not exhibiting the kind of level of technology one would think of in terms of a civilization, it just goes to show that humans in their rawest, most primal rural form have been around for a long time, and a lot longer here in the United States and North America than previously thought. This is fascinating stuff. And it goes on to say in the article over at thedebrief.org, in 2009, ancient fossilized human footprints were discovered at White Sands. However, it was not until revelations that came with the 2021 radiocarbon dating of seeds found in the sediment that controversy erupted. Those results dated the footprints to 23,000 years ago, pushing the arrival of humans in the Americas back several thousand years. Several thousand years. You can read the rest of this. I highly recommend it. There is also a link to this other piece that goes into the same information that I did not have open, but I do now. Over at theconversation.com, fossil footprints reveal what may be the oldest known handcarts, new research. And there you see an illustration of the kind of poles slapped together, tied together to carry, who knows, could have been their children, could have been kills from hunts, could be their tent materials, their lodgings, or their personal belongings, whatever those might have been. But this article shows more of the photos of the research, including some of the photos of the tracks. And it's noted that there were tracks seen alongside some of these human footprints alongside some of these tracks, some of which seem like particularly small footprints, implying that, yes, the children were perhaps walking alongside these carts. And here is some of the research where they actually did some experiments to see how this might result. Fascinating stuff. Really encourage folks to check this out. Even more exciting, I just came across a few days ago. This was posted on February 25th, and it's a video. Let's see if I can share this. It's from the BBC Timestamp YouTube channel. Professor Alice Roberts meets archaeologist Dr. Mike Collins to discuss a groundbreaking discovery in Texas. Evidence that could challenge the timeline of when early humans first came to America. But how credible is this find, and what could it mean for the long accepted theories of early human migration? Now, this video is actually from a documentary series called Incredible Human Journey from 2009 that they do provide the link to a BBC page where you can go, but if you're here in the United States, it won't let you play it, sadly. So I can't go watch that, but you can watch this 4.5-minute clip. I highly recommend you check it out. And it all details this site called the Galt Archaeological Site that's an hour north of Austin, Texas. And archaeologist Mike Collins of Austin has been researching this site since the late 1990s. So approximately 30 years 30 years ago was when he first discovered this site. There's Mr. Collins right there. And it's fascinating. It is phenomenal. This has such huge implications. And come to find out, so there has been a documentary in the works. It's called The Stones Speak. I think that's the title. Wait a minute. The Stones Are Speaking. In fact, there's a couple different websites you can go to find out about this documentary. One is called, where is my notes? galtfilm.com. That's GAULTFILM.com, galtfilm.com, or the longer title, and they're the exact same websites, thestonesarespeaking.com. And if you go to The Stones Are Speaking, you can find links to all the past news and media coverage about this, which has been pretty extensive. I must have come across this and forgotten. That happens now and again, but there's a great little bunch of links there. There's videos on the site, clips of the new documentary, and apparently I think it premiered here in Austin back in October of last year, and there's been quite a bit of coverage of it. The Austin American-Statesman covered it back in October. Nothing else like it, period, quote unquote. Movie on Texas site helps rewrite prehistory of the Americas. And a more recent article from the same journalist, the same news outlet, Austin American-Statesman, from the archives, what archaeologists discovered about earliest humans in Austin area. And he starts off funnily by saying, last week in, quote, from the archives, I introduced a series of planned columns, half jokingly titled 20,000 Years of Austin History in 20 Minutes. The headline comes from one of my stock speeches shared on Austin's vibrant speaking circuit. Today's installment involves the arrival of indigenous peoples to the Austin area 20,000 years ago. There was no need to scrub the newspaper's archives for this prehistory, since I'd summarized the previous archaeological findings at the Galt site located north of Austin just a few months ago. That would be that previous article. The occasion was the premiere at the Austin Film Festival of a documentary, The Stones Are Speaking, about what archaeologist Mike Collins and colleagues had discovered there regarding the region's earliest human activity. Yeah, and these bullet points really sum it up. The site, named for Henry Galt, the landowners during the early 20th century, has produced almost 3 million artifacts during professional excavations. Sadly, decades of amateur digging, thievery, provide a little or no prehistorical context for the found artifacts. Among those artifacts, diggers have discovered a huge accumulation of Clovis points, which resulted from a flint shaping technology associated with a site near Clovis, New Mexico. Until the past 15 to 20 years, these were considered the oldest artifacts found in the Americas, dating to about 13,000 years ago. Austin archaeologist and Clovis expert Mike Collins said that Galt had, quote, more Clovis artifacts than I'd seen in my life, unquote. In 2007, Collins purchased the site and donated it to the Archaeological Conservancy. Along the way, diggers have discovered geometrically inscribed stones, rightly called art. Other artifacts can help date the site to as early as 20,000 years ago. The Galt site is among a dozen or so pre-Clovis sites in the Americas. Yeah, so since an earlier presence of humans predates the last major ice age and the Bering Land Bridge, this suggests that migrants from Asia or elsewhere came to the Americas by sea, down the Atlantic or Pacific coasts, or both. Archaeological conspiracy theorists, as they are often referred to, have been saying this forever, that there are all these little clues across the United States, across North America, and other Southern American continent that indicate there must have been an earlier presence. Quote, people were in Central Texas much earlier than we previously thought, 20,000 years ago versus 13,500 years ago, says archaeologist Dr. Clarence Warnecke. quote, which means that people arrived in the Americas even earlier than that. The old story we have been told about the peopling of the Americas is now dead, and we do not yet have enough information to form a new one. This is just amazing. This has gotten me so excited. I can't wait to see this documentary. If you go to the website, galtfilm.com or thestonesarespeaking.com/watch.php, you'll see a link, a list of all the places you can watch it on PBS. I guess it's going to air on PBS in this coming month. Starting March 17th, the film will make its broadcast premiere on all Texas PBS stations as the final program in the Made in Texas film series. It will also be made available for online viewing nationwide on the PBS app starting March 22nd. Looks like for Austin, we're looking at March 24th. So mark your calendars, folks. I think you can actually watch this online at one of the website links I found. It may be the PBS site, or maybe that's just where you'll be able to stream it, as I say, starting March 22nd. I'm not sure exactly, but man, really excited about this. There's other clips around on the internet. There is a 3.5-minute clip over on Facebook that is also interesting. Everything's just feeds into, obviously clips from the film. And man, so basically this man has been a one-man army, only he's not one man. He's recruited thousands of volunteers to help with this project, and they have uncovered so much. And after many setbacks, he finally was able to personally, through his wife and he, taking out a second mortgage and buying the property and then donating, as was said in the article, to a conservancy organization. And they're obviously their life's work. It's just fantastic and very exciting stuff. Well, as we close out the show, I haven't really talked really much about UFOs or, hey, drones, the dreaded D word. Micah Hanks, again, has a great podcast this week, The Colorado Drone Mystery, The Obscurum Files. He interviews the host and researcher on a new series put out on the Midwest Drone Mystery Flap that happened across multiple states back at the end of 2019 into 2020. This, of course, predates the more recent New Jersey drone flap. And of course, you can go to the anomalyarchives.org website, where we have a page devoted to just way too many links on mystery drone flaps. But this interview is a fun interview and introduced me to this new podcast called the Obscurum Files, which you can find online. That's obscurumseries.com, where the writer, host, producer of this is exploring this case. What the question I still have, having only heard this one interview, is why they waited or why it took so long for them to put this out. We're talking, 5 years later. It's a pretty well produced podcast. It's not the kind of podcast I typically listen to. Subject matter wise, it totally is, but the production style is more storytelling style. I do enjoy that, and you probably will too. And you can listen to it on your favorite podcasting app. They also have the episodes, I believe, on their YouTube channel. Of course, this is again called Obscurum. Series.com is the website. That's OBSCURUM series.com. You might want to check that out. Just this evening, got a latest email news from Danny Sheehan at the New Paradigm Institute. This is not that, but this is their website, newparadigminstitute.org, where they report New Jersey drone mystery. The story isn't over. Quote, despite the White House's nothing to see here dismissal of the New Jersey drone flap, the reality on the ground tells a different story. While mainstream media has largely moved on, key officials and independent journalists continue to dig deeper, and what they're uncovering doesn't align with the official narrative. Congresswoman Mickey Sherrill speaks out. I guess it's Mickey, Mikie. Independent journalist Matt Laszlo asked Apollo UAPs. Really enjoy his reporting. recently pressed Representative Mickey Sherrill, Democrat, New Jersey, on the Trump administration's claim that all drones in New Jersey were FAA approved. Laszlo quotes Sherrill as replying, quote, "Trump has said a lot of things about the drones that don't appear very credible to me," unquote. While some might chalk this up to political differences, Sherrill went further, pointing out that the White House's statements, quote, "don't comport with what was being briefed at the time," unquote. She revealed that she's working with local military bases to establish tracking protocols for future incursions. But perhaps the most revealing moment came when she addressed the Pentagon's role. Quote, "I think the Pentagon would be the place to," excuse me, quote, "I think the Pentagon would be the place that should get a good grasp of it. There were a lot of different entities involved when this happened that I spoke to, and there was a lot of stovepiping of who was in charge," unquote. Stovepiping of who was in charge? Sound familiar? We've seen this pattern before of fragmented authority, lack of coordination, and a reluctance to acknowledge unidentified aerial incursions. The question is whether it is done intentionally or just as a function of government incompetence. The military's own data tells a different story. And this is, again, whatever I have said and others have said, that so much of what has been shown in the media were clearly misidentifications of mundane objects, that this is the classic UFO flap where 80, 90+% of what is being seen are simply misidentifications or some undisclosed, allowed by the FAA, perhaps, drone technology, those drone delivery systems, those drone delivery companies. I'm telling you, I think that's a good part of this. Or, as others have said, an audition by a high-tech drone military contractor company trying to show off their wares. But this goes on to say, again, this is from the New Paradigm Institute newsletter, quote, "A local independent news outlet, Tap into Middletown, recently covered the latest updates about the New Jersey drone flap. The article reported on a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing February 13th, where Air Force General Gregory M. Guyot, Guillot, Guillot, head of NORTHCOM and NORAD, provided eye-opening testimony. During this testimony about the drone incursions, Guyot said, quote, "The primary threat I see from them is the way they've been operating in a way that allows for detection and perhaps surveillance of sensitive capabilities of our installations." Guyot further stated there were over 350 detections over military installations last year, spanning 100 different sites with varying security levels. How is that FAA approved? That is not. So these are two different things here. All right. Well, that's going to be it. Again, you can go to anomalyarchives.org. You can go to our patreon.com/anomalyarchives website. You can find these and other links. Some of these links won't flip into our Flipboard, but flipboard.com/anomalyarchives will get you more information there. Excuse me. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you'll like and subscribe. Maybe subscribe to the website. Maybe just subscribe to our Patreon. Maybe donate some money. We could really use your help. We are trying so hard to get enough money to get our own physical location again so that we can get the materials, 7,000 plus materials, 7,000 plus books, thousands of periodicals, and all our other materials back into a physical space where people can have more easy access to them. So thank you, and